In today's video, you're going to discover the fastest way to replace your corporate salary as a coach. And if you stay until the end, you're going to get my step-by-step blueprint to replace your salary so that you can transition to coaching full-time. So let's dive right in. What's the first step to replacing your salary? The first step is to package a premium coaching offer. You're going to struggle to get to replacing your income if you're charging $100 a session or $200 a session because there's only so many hours in the day. And your biggest constraint when you're working in corporate is time, because you're working full-time or more than full-time, and now you're building this coaching business on the side in the evenings and the weekends. And it's just a numbers game. If you're only charging $100 or $200 a session, you just don't have the time to serve the number of clients that you need to replace your $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 salary. So instead, you want to make sure that you package a premium coaching offer, one where you charge somewhere between $5,000, $10,000, or even $15,000 for the clients that you serve. Now, of course, if you don't solve a painful problem where people see the value of your coaching, it's going to be hard for you to charge that. So just really think about what is the problem that you're going to solve and the promise that you're going to make that's going to be worth that amount of money. I'm going to give you an example. A student of mine, a client of mine named Zane, is an orthodontic coach. He has mentored many orthodontists to grow their practice and get new patients. That's a great niche to serve because these orthodontists are already somewhat successful. They're at six figures or seven figures in their practice, and they want more patients. And so the lifetime value of one new patient to them is so significant that they're willing to pay a lot of money to learn how to get new patients. And that's exactly what Zane knew. He knew this, being in the industry for a while. So his first coaching package that he ever offered was not for $1,000. It wasn't for $3,000 or even $5,000. It was for $15,000 was his first coaching client that he ever got. Literally, as I was mentoring him, within the first 4 months, he generated over $100,000. It was $104,000 exactly because he knew how to package a great offer that he learned from us, and he chose a niche that was going to pay for his coaching. So that's what you want to do, is think about that. You don't have to necessarily, and again, I just want to be clear here, teach people how to make more money, even though that's one way of doing it. You could also help people with their health, with their relationships, but choose a problem that is painful enough that people are willing to pay high ticket for. That's the first step to replacing your corporate salary as a coach. The second step is shockingly overlooked, and that is to leverage your relationship capital. You see, if you're in corporate, however many years you've worked in corporate, you've built a network of people who already know, like, and trust you. And so it's critical that you don't ignore those people. I know that it's really sexy and attractive to look at building funnels and running ads and generating leads online. And don't get me wrong, I do all those things and I teach our students to, but I don't recommend that's where you start. Instead, what you want to do is you want to leverage your relationship capital by reaching out to your network and doing what I call market research interviews. This is just a critical foundational step because doing a market research interview not only and let me first tell you what a market research interview is. A market research interview is where you reach out to your network and you ask them for a favor. And you go, hey, listen, I'm decided to launch a coaching business and I'm doing this on the side of my business or my career. And I was curious if you could do me a favor. I'd like to interview you to ask you some questions so that I can make this coaching program as valuable as possible to somebody like you. And if you've built the know, like, and trust factor with this person, they're going to want to help you, right? And so imagine that you conduct 5 or 10 or 20 of these market research interviews. Not only do you gain valuable market research, but you also create the opportunity and open the door for either them to be interested in working with you because they're going to hear about the program, or for them to refer somebody. Because at the end, you could say, I'm curious, who do you know that you think would benefit from this? Now that you know a little bit about my program, the problem that I solve, the promise that I'm making, who do you know that you think would be a fit? And this is an unbelievable strategy. I mean, to share another case study of a client of ours, Neil, who's a contract CFO. He would get hired by companies to be kind of an interim CFO in their companies. He wanted to create more freedom in his schedule because he was trading time for money as a consultant, right? And instead, we taught him how to build a leverage group coaching business. So we taught him to do these market research interviews. And literally within the first month, you thought Zane's results were powerful. Neil's results in the first month, he generated $100,000 in cash and contracts through doing these market research interviews with people who already knew, like, and trusted him, because he didn't have to build the whole funnels and the audience online. And again, he chose to do that month 2, month 3, and so on. But that first month, he just leveraged his relationship capital. So who do you know that you could interview and do these market research interviews to either attract as a client or get referrals? That's the second step to the fastest way to replace your corporate salary. The third step is to choose a niche that has a lot at stake. Now, this is connected to the first niche, which is, first step, which is packaging your coaching into a premium offer. But choosing a niche that has a lot at stake means that the problem that you're helping them solve is painful enough for them to pay a lot of money for. Why? Because we pay attention to what we pay for. And so an example of this is maybe you're a relationship coach. You could just call yourself a relationship coach and you help anyone with their relationship. That, again, that's more niche than just calling yourself, a general life coach, but it's still not too specific. And it's not a niche that has a lot at stake. So instead, what if you were a marriage coach for couples who are in the public eye, who have something to lose if their relationship goes south or if they get a divorce? Now they have a lot more at stake, even though every relationship is important and valuable. Those that are in the public eye may think to themselves, oh, I would pay more money for this relationship coaching and marriage coaching because I have a lot more at stake. That's what I mean by that. Because by doing that, again, you're going to be charging premium prices. And when you're charging premium prices, it's going to be a much easier pathway and shorter timeline to get you to replace your multi-six-figure corporate salary. So let's talk about the final two steps. There's two more steps in replacing your salary. The fourth step is to focus on one-to-many coaching versus one-on-one. And the reason I recommend this is because, as I said earlier, time is your biggest constraint. And so if all you're doing is one-on-one coaching, it's great and it's fulfilling and it's impactful, but you're trading time for money and you will hit a ceiling very quickly on the number of one-on-one clients that you can serve if you're working in corporate and you're working 40, 50, or 60 hours a week. So we've got to think strategically, how do we leverage your time? How do we break through that plateau? Well, instead of you doing one-on-one coaching, you start thinking about doing one-to-many coaching. This is called leverage group coaching. There's a very powerful structure for doing this because many coaches that transition from one-on-one to group drop the ball and they find their clients in the group are not getting near the value. When you set up a leverage group coaching program the right way, those group clients actually get even more value than just your one-on-one. Why? Because not only do they get access to you, but they also get accountability and they get to associate with other people on the same journey. So if you want to learn how to structure your group coaching program, I've got a separate video on exactly how to do that. It's up here in the corner. Just tap this video and you can give it a watch on how to structure your group coaching program. Let's wrap this up with the fifth and final step of how to, or the fastest way to replace your corporate salary. The fifth step is to license your IP. License your intellectual property. This is the ultimate form of leverage. So imagine for a moment that you decide to be a leadership consultant or a executive coach, right? You're teaching these executives how to delegate better and train their teams so that their teams can grow the company. Imagine if you had a step-by-step process and you started to take all of this knowledge and expertise that you have, unpack it from your mind, and package it into a curriculum that these companies can go through, a training curriculum, where there's a membership site, there's video modules, there's tools and resources that they can use. And instead of you now charging for your time, you now are charging for a packaged product that delivers value that after it's built doesn't require any of your time. Now, don't get me wrong, it takes the time to build this, of course, so you're investing on the front end. But recently, I've made 2 partnerships in my company where I've licensed my IP. I've taken, the content inside my coaching program, Fearless Coach Academy, and I've licensed it to other coach training companies because they were great at teaching people how to coach and certifying coaches, but they were not great at teaching them marketing, sales, and systems, which we are experts at. So instead of them having to learn all those things and create their own curriculum, which would take them years to do, they cut me a check for a lot of money to license my IP and offer it to their students. Imagine you being able to do that. Now, not every coach can do this, depending on your niche and what you're helping them with, but many of you can. And if you're transitioning from corporate, then really think of this as one of the fastest paths because you could charge 25 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand for licensing your IP to a company or a person. And by doing that, that's going to close a gap on your income, on your corporate salary much faster to make this transition. So that's the fifth and final step of replacing your salary, is licensing your IP. Now, as I mentioned before, if you want the training on how to either license your IP or structure your group coaching program, comment group below, and my team will send you a link to the video and the exact resource and template that we use for doing that. It's going to be super useful. Before I wrap up, I just have a quick favor to ask, and that is 74% of people who watch my YouTube videos aren't subscribed to my channel, which is insane and it's way too high. And so if you found value from this video, if you've watched my other videos, I ask you for a favor, just go ahead and subscribe to my channel. That way you never miss a future video of mine. And finally, once you've subscribed, make sure to check out my next video, which reveals how to make time to start a coaching business, because that's your biggest constraint. So if you click up here, you can watch how to make time to start a coaching business. My name is Peter Scott, reminding you to be here, act now, and fear less.